What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some battles in the Open Great League featuring a Pokemon some of you probably didn't even know was in the game, and that Pokemon is Stonejourner. Now this Pokemon was released at the start of this season, but it is a regional Pokemon exclusive to the UK, and I assume the reason for this is because it resembles Stonehenge. Now I'll be honest, it's not a very good Pokemon with its current move pool. It only learns one fast move, which is Rock Throw, and for charge moves it's got access to Rock Slide, which was nerfed, Stomp, which is slightly cheaper in energy and why I opted for it, and Stone Edge. On the other hand, the other rock type that I'm featuring today actually has a ton of play in the current meta, and that's Lycanroc midday form. This Pokemon got two buffs this season with Sucker Punch and Trailblaze, and it also has access to Droron, so it has great coverage for the current meta. And yes, of course, I'm not running it with any rock type moves, but as I say swap, it's very unlikely that someone will be switching in something that is weak to rock, so the coverage is great for the current meta. The thinking behind the Flygon in the lead was that I needed something that had a fairly good matchup up against both Clodsire and Feraligatr, so that way if I lost the lead, my Lycanroc safe swap would likely bait out one of the two. Also, I want to give a quick shout out to both Ben Richmond and Colin L for gifting 10 memberships each in my recent live stream, so thank you both for the support. And one final thing I want to say before we get into the battles is that I had an absolutely horrible time doing these battles when it comes to the state of the game. So many times the game would start at vital moments, causing me to miss out on throwing a charge move or swapping out, or even just being able to see what the heck is happening and keeping track of my opponent's energy. It was so frustrating, and the worst part is Niantic is capable of fixing it. They literally did fix most of the starter issues with an update a few months ago, but seemed to revert those fixes with the very next update, which was literally just a few days later. So we had the game working perfectly fine for like 1 or 2 days, and then ever since it's been absolutely terrible, and it's just super frustrating. But with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. Do you think Niantic will actually ever fix any of the issues regarding frame drops, stutter lag, and the many inconsistencies that exist within the Go Battle League, or do you think that unfortunately we are just going to have to put up with the current game state indefinitely? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle is Shadow Flygon into a shiny Shadow Cacturne, which is very cool, very spicy pick. Unfortunately, a bit of a core breaker to my team though, so I'm going to go and fire off a Dragon Claw, expect to grab an early shield. Now, I typically did not say swap into my Stonejourner here, but if I swap into my Lycanroc, they can just fully fast move farm me down as Sucker Punch is resisted. But as a result, I'm able to swap into my Stonejourner, baiting out a Diggersby, which definitely is not ideal, but I think I threw it on CMP here, firing off the Stomp. Stomp, really not going to do much damage, but at this point, we're just going to sacrifice the Stonejourner. So obviously this battle is not the best showcase of what Stonejourner can do, but I guess it kind of showcases what it typically would be able to do in the Go Battle League, which unfortunately isn't really much. But either way, going to come back in with the Shadow Flygon, firing off the Scorching Sands on the CMP tie, which is perfect for me, and of course, going to no-shield this. The opponent also fires off the Scorching Sands. We can come in with the Lycanroc, get the Sucker Punch farm down, and the opponent is going to wait out their switch clock before coming in with a Clodsire, which is actually really good for me, but they swap back into the Shadow Cacturne, and that is huge for me. I'm firing off the Trailblaze straight away. Trailblaze is going to ramp up my attack, and now these drill runs are going to deal huge damage in this matchup. We're firing off the first drill run. Drill run goes unshielded. It nearly gets the one shot. They're going to fire off the charge move, but it doesn't matter at this point. Sucker Punch will get the KO, and I'm able to take that game. So GG to opponent there. Into next battle, going to see Shadow Flygon into Alolan Marowak. So this is a much better lead matchup for us, and the opponent is going to fire off a Bone Club immediately. Now, of course, Bone Club does deal more damage this season, still not going to warrant a shield, and they're going to swap into a Mandibuzz. So this is where Stonejourner is actually going to be fairly useful for me. I'm going to no-shield the first move. Honestly, before I did these battles, I didn't actually look up Stonejourner's stats, so I didn't know if it was bulky or glassy or somewhere in between. Honestly, even now, I don't really know where its stat product lies, but either way, we're going to fire for Stone Edge. They actually shield that. At this point, I'm thinking I don't really need to shield this. The opponent goes for another Aerial Ace bait, so I'm going to no-shield once again. They finally send the Dark Pulse. They do get the KO there, but now I'm actually going to come in with my Lycanroc, go for a resisted Sucker Punch farm down, and I just figured that my coverage moves in Trailblaze and Droron are going to be so effective up against what the opponent might be running in the back. So going to shield up the Dark Pulse there, go for the Sucker Punch farm down, and let's see what the opponent wants to do. They're going to come back in with the Alolan Marowak here, and unfortunately, because we started to lag there, I end up throwing on alignment there, which is not ideal, and we threw a drill run as the opponent makes a catch onto Azumarill. So very good catch by the opponent, but we can now fire off the Trailblaze. Trailblaze does super effective damage, it boosts up our attack here. At this point, it doesn't really matter what we throw, because I'm going to be swapping out, assuming they're going to shield, into my Flygon, going for the Dragon Claw, and from this range, Dragon Claw double resisted, but it still gets the KO. And of course, we can just fire off another Dragon Claw again, not throwing at the best timing, but it doesn't really matter, as a Dragon Claw will get the KO. I'm able to take out the Marowak, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there into the next battle, because he Clodsire in the lead. So of course, great lead matchup for us. I think this might be one of the first battles I did. So I'm going to fire off a Scorching Sands just before they reach an Earthquake. And Scorching Sands doesn't actually quite take them out there. So I think I did adapt how I played out this lead matchup. In future battles, I wouldn't throw straight away. Instead, I'd shield if they farmed up to the Earthquake, and then throw once I'd farmed up to nearly back-to-back moves. But either way, they're going to come in with the Shadow for Alligator. So going to go and fire off the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw grabs the shield, and we're able to make it to another Dragon Claw here. Honestly, I would prefer if the opponent just throws their energy straight away, but they are going to be very smart, overfarm massively. So at this point, I could shield this. I'm going to shield this just because I know I can now fire off a Dragon Claw, win CMP with my Shadow Flygon. Dragon Claw gets the KO, but they've got a Shadow Machamp in the back, and unfortunately, this is pretty much the worst thing we could see, because they're going to easily outpace us to the charge moves. Lycanroc is a very glassy Pokemon, and Stonejourner also will not be able to tank a Cross Chop by the time they do throw it. So yeah, unfortunately, not a lot we can do here. The opponent will fire off the Cross Chop, it gets the KO, and they're actually able to make it to another Cross Chop. They didn't even need to, they could have just Karate Chop farmed me down. Cross Chop takes out the Flygon, and unfortunately, we do lose that game. But GG's to opponent there into the next battle, because he Clodsire in the lead once again. So this time we're not going to throw the Scorching Sands straight away, at least not before they throw a charge move, but they actually don't even farm up to potential Stone Edge, or not, sorry, not even Stone Edge. They don't farm up to the potential Earthquake. That is just a Sludge Bomb, which is resisted, so absolutely fine with me. We're now going to fire off the Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands gets the KO, and they're going to come in with a Dunsparce. So I'm going to overfarm just slightly here, firing off the Dragon Claws, hoping I can make it to a Dragon Claw and a Scorching Sands, but unfortunately that is not the case. So just going to fire off a second Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw number 2 is going to be no shielded, and the opponent throws straight away. So at this point, going to let the Flygon go down, come in with my Lycanroc, and I'm feeling pretty good about this. Assuming they're not running Machamp in the back, we should be looking okay here. Going to shield up the drill run, and the opponent comes in with Azumarill. So of course, 2 rock types, this typically would not be very good for us whatsoever. But once again, firing off the Trailblaze, the opponent doesn't know about the Trailblaze coverage. I'm going to fire off a second Trailblaze here, and then I realize even with a double boost, Sucker Punches are resisted. They're not going to do much damage. So now at this point, I'm going to come in with the Stonejourner, and at this point, I'm going to no shield. I figured my win condition is if the opponent baits with an Ice Beam, which they do, because now we can shield up the next one. Ice Beam didn't really do that much damage. Play Rough or definitely a Hydro Pump would do a lot more there. And now we are going to commit to a Fast Move farm down. We're not able to get it, but we get the resisted Sucker Punch farm down with my Lycanroc, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there into next battle, you can see a Malamar in the lead. So not really ideal, just because they are running a similar fast move in that they do generate energy at the same pacing, but unfortunately they deal 1 more damage with every Psy Wave, so definitely not ideal. You can see a huge difference in our HP already just from the fast move damage, but I am able to outpace them to a Dragon Claw and then a Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands gets the KO there, and they're going to come in with a low kicks. Now unfortunately, this is not a good matchup for us. They do resist everything here. I was hoping they would just swap out after seeing a rock type Pokemon, but unfortunately they don't. They fire off the Trailblaze, boosting up their attack there, so kind of just fully sacrifice the Lycanroc for no reason whatsoever. Going to come in with the Stonejourner, and honestly we're not in a great position. I have to shield this up. They're already boosted. They go for the Trailblaze. They're going to come in with a Shadow for Alligator, and we will fire off the Stomp, winning CMP. So turns out we are slightly more attack weighted than a for Alligator, but we're going to of course go down to the Hydro Cannon here. I'm hoping we can make it to a Dragon Claw on the Shadow Flygon, but we are barely not able to do so. If we got new mechanic, maybe we could have got there, but unfortunately we did not, so we do lose that game. But GG's to opponent there into the next battle, you can see Azumarill in the lead. So Azumarill is definitely tricky for us, but Flygon has a fairly neutral matchup here. Of course, we're going to have to shield anything they throw. Ice Beam would easily one-shot us, and even a Play Rough would also do the same. So going to shield this, they go for the Play Rough there. We are going to be able to outpace them to the next charge move. I'm going to throw one before they make it to the next charge move here. So we're going to go for the Scorching Sands, then swap, catch the move onto my Stonejourner once again. Not really using it as a safe swap, but more as a damage sponge here, and we're going to bait out a Registeel. Now, of course, Registeel is absolutely awful for us, but we don't really care. We're just going to fire off a charge move straight away. Honestly, probably could have just not thrown there and forced the opponent to throw their energy straight away, because now they do actually overfarm. They go for the focus blast there, but we do have residual energy on the Flygon, so I should still be able to outpace them to the next charge move. So going to come back in with the Flygon, and even with a little bit of stutters there, we are able to fire off a Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands is going to be shielded by the opponent, and at this point I'm just going to let the Flygon go down. The opponent actually goes for a triple resisted Zap Cannon there for some reason. Don't have a clue why. I don't understand that bait at all. It does cost more energy, and of course you have less of a chance of debuffing our attack this season. But either way, we're going to go for the Trailblaze there, taking out a Azumarill. They come back in with the Registeel, and we are going to overfarm, and we try to throw a charge move, but we stutter there. But that might not be the worst thing ever, as now we can just shield up the Focus Blast and go for the Sucker Punch farm down, and they're going to have a Venusaur in the back. So we are already boosted. We're firing off the Drill Run. That does big damage. It's a Shadow Venusaur actually, and we're able to make it to a second Drill Run. Gonna fully undercharge it. It still gets the KO, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there into next battle. Going to see Flygon into a shiny Shadow Dragonair. So definitely not ideal for us. I'm actually going to stay in just because I can outpace them to the first charge. We fire off a Dragon Claw, and then I will be swapping into my Safe Swap, which is Lycanroc. But unfortunately, of course, they're going to make it to a charge move. I have to shield this. Aqua Tail would pretty much take us out from that range. But they come in with a Venusaur. Once again, just going to go straight for the Drill Run here. And Drill Run is going to connect. It does big damage. The opponent is going to fire a charge move, but they're not going to make it to back-to-back moves here, so this is fine. Frenzy Plant gets the KO. We can come in with the Stonejourner and go for a full Rock Throw farm down before they make it to the next charge move. And let's see what the opponent wants to do. They're going to come in with a Shadow Shiny Muck here, which is fine with me. We are going to just stay in. These Rock Throws are absolutely chunking. We're resisting the Poison Jab damage. They go for the Dark Pulse there. And at this point, I figured my win condition is swapping into my Flygon, forcing them to throw their energy as the opponent will throw a charge move, but they actually go for Thunder Punch, meaning we get the Sand Attack farm down, and now we have to go for a Stomp here. Baiting with the Stomp. Stomp is going to grab the final shield, and we are just barely able to make it to the Stone Edge. Stomp maybe would have done the job there, but we play it safe. We go for the Stone Edge, we get the KO up against the Shadow Dragonair, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there into the next battle. We're going to see a Shadow Golurk in the lead. So this is definitely not ideal for us because these Mud Slaps are chunking and they're going to be super effective up against my backline. So going to fire off the charge move and then swap into my Lycanroc. I'm hoping that we can just Sucker Punch, farm them down before they make it to back-to-back moves, but the opponent actually swaps out of the matchup and into a Dugong. So going to fire off the Drill Run, sorry, not Drill Run, Trailblaze. Trailblaze is going to be shielded by the opponent. At this point, I don't think there's really any point in shielding. They're going to go for an Icy Wind, debuff my attack, so I don't think a Trailblaze would have KO'd anyways, but we're going to come in with the Stonejourner, and I'm just going to commit to a full Rock Throw farm down. They will make it to a charge move. They're probably going to debuff my attack here. I don't think they're going to go for the Drill Run. They go for the Icy Wind. They swap back into Golurk, so I'm going to swap into my Flygon, catch the charge move. As the opponent goes for the Shadow Punch there, we can now go for the Rock Throw farm down. They come back in with a Dugong, and we can go and Rock Throw farm them down as well. But they come in with a Drapion. Now, if this was a Shadow Drapion, I'd be pretty confident in a Stone Edge getting the KO. But unfortunately, up against the non-Shadow, it doesn't take them out. And they're so spammy. They're already at the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail takes out the Stonejourner. And unfortunately, we do lose that game. But GG's to opponent there into next battle. Going to see a Shadow for Alligator in the lead. So this is fine with us. We will just barely outpace them to the first Dragon Claw. And the Sand Attacks do add up. So after landing a Dragon Claw, we can probably just go for a full Sand Attack farm down. So at this point, I am going to shield this up, commit to the farm down. No, actually, never mind. I'm going to swap into my Lycanroc. We get some starter lag there. And I swear they only got like 3 Snarls in, but they're already at a charge move, so they go for the Dark Pulse. Like, I don't know how that happened there. And also, of course, we swapped into our Lycanroc. Didn't know they were going to swap into Mandibuzz there, so unfortunately, all the moves are resisted, but they don't know that, so they end up using a shield. So at this point, I'm definitely just going to take that shield advantage, let the Lycanroc go down, come in with my Stonejourner, and this is a pretty good matchup for us. Gonna no shield once again, as the opponent is going to fire off the Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse does some decent damage there, but that's okay. They're going to swap back into Feraligatr. We get the Rock Throw farm down. They come back in with the Mandibuzz. I'm just throwing the charge move straight away. Stone Edge gets gets the KO, but they've actually got Gastrodon in the back, and unfortunately this Mud-Stamp damage is going to be too oppressive for my Shadow Flygon. We're going for Scorching Sands just because we want to debuff their attack, and we actually do drop their attack, but it's just not going to be enough. You can see we even landed the Scorching Sands, but they're just not in farm down range. I'm not going to throw a Charge Move here. I realise Fast Move farm down is my win condition, but it's unfortunately not going to happen as they reach a Charge Move. Body Slam gets the KO despite being debuffed and resisted, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to opponent there, into next battle, going to see Drifblim in the lead, so going to say swap into my Lycanroc, and the opponent's staying in here. We're dealing a lot of damage with these Sucker Punches. We're going to shield this up as the opponent goes and fires off an Icy Wind. They're now going to swap into Feraligatr, and we can just go straight for Trailblaze. Unfortunately though, our attack has been debuffed, so Trailblaze won't put them into farm down range, but it does at least put them low enough where I can come back in with my Flygon, go for the Sand Attack farm down, and I will come out with close to a charge we've already loaded. Now I assume they're going to come back in with the Drifblim, so if they do, I'm going to swap straight away into Stonejourner, and we're able to get the Rock Throw farm down before they can even swap out. They've got Toxapex in the back, and this is absolutely game over. I'm going to fire for Stone Edge just before they make it to the Brine. Doesn't really matter if they shield or not. I'm basically just going to sacrifice my Stonejourner at this point. Of course, Brine will be super effective. It will get the KO from this range, but we can come in with the Shadow Flygon. Brine only going to hit for neutral damage in this matchup, so I actually can afford to no-shield this. As they go for the Brine there, we're going to go for one Sand Attack, then fire off the Scorching Sands on good timing, and Scorching Sands is no shielded, it takes out the Toxapex, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to open their into next battle, can see a Clefable in the lead, so of course not very good for us. Gonna say swap into my Lycanroc, and the opponent comes in with a Gastrodon, and we're going straight for the Trailblaze there. Do they know about the coverage? No, we get the one shot up against the Gastrodon, flipping switch advantage. They come back in with Clefable, and unfortunately they can actually just fire off a Swift, and whilst it's resisted damage, they can now just go for a Fairy Wind farm down. So definitely not ideal for me, but we did flip switch advantage. We can now align our Stonejourner, which isn't necessarily going to be great up against Clefable, but either way, going to use the shield, and they do bait with a Swift, unfortunately, which definitely is not ideal, but I can reach a Stomp as they're reaching the next charge move. So Stomp will be coming through, it grabs the shield from the opponent. And this one I'm going to call the bait this time, and they do bait once again with the Swift. I'm not certain if I will need my Stonejourner in the back, so I'm actually going to no shield. They go for Moonblast, hopefully Flygon can sweep, but they've got a Drifblim in the back, and this isn't looking too ideal here. Of course, they are going to double resist the Sand Attack, but they let the first move go through, and assuming they're running Icy Wind, that is a huge mistake because, of course, now they can debuff my attack here, but it doesn't really matter. We've landed the Dragon Claw at neutral attack there, so now we're debuffed, but a second Dragon Claw should be enough to get the KO. We're going to fire off the charge move, winning CMP it looks like as well. Dragon Claw will be coming through, it gets the KO, and one Sand Attack takes out Clefable before the Fairy Wind damage registers, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there, into next battle, can see a Shadow, Alolan Sandslash in the lead, so definitely not great. I did stay in initially just to see if they're riding Powder Snow. They are, so I swapped out there into my Lycanroc. They fire off the Joran, and they come in with a Shadow Feraligatr. Now, unfortunately, we do lag a little bit there. I don't think it really cost me too much there, but either way, going to grab a shield in this matchup. You see, I'm trying to optimize my phone here because the game is just not being very good. But either way, we're going to come in with the Shadow Flygon. I'm going to overfarm as much as I can, throw just before the Feraligatr reaches a charge move. We go for the Dragon Claw, get the KO there, and I'm going to swap straight away into my Stonejourner, assuming it's the Sandslash that comes back in, and it is the Sandslash, and the opponent comes in with a Toxapex. Now, technically, we can win this matchup here if we're able to bait with a Stomp and then fire off the Stone Edge, but I'm actually just going to save my shields for my Flygon. That might be a bit of a stupid play just because they are running Powder Snow. They could probably just farm me all the way down, but either way, firing off the Stone Edge. Stone Edge is unfortunately not enough damage to get the KO there, and at this point, this is going to be game over. I figured I'll save my shield, but maybe I should have just shielded that up there. We come in with the Flygon. We do get a nice farm down, but I'm not reaching 2 Dragon Claws, so unfortunately, Dragon Claw number 1 is shielded. They're able to Powder Snow farm me down, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to opponent there, into next battle, not a great matchup here, a huge core breaker for the team in Serperior. We're just going to stay in just because we do take, of course, neutral damage from the grass typing, and they're actually going to throw after just 5 Vine Whip. So they go for a Leaf Tornado, fishing for a debuff to my attack, but they don't get it, which is huge for me, because now I can fire off another Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw is going to get them reasonably low, and the opponent is going to fire off another Charge Beam. At this point, I'm just going to let the Flygon go down. Leaf Tornado gets the KO, that's fine with me. Going to come in with my Lycanroc, and hopefully they don't get a debuff this time around. The opponent goes for Leaf Tornado, and it doesn't debuff me, which is huge. We get the Sucker Punch farm down, and they're going to come in with a Nidoqueen. So we're going to go and fire off a Drill Run here. I don't expect them to shield this. Drill Run does big damage, but unfortunately it doesn't quite put them into farm down range. So I swap, I catch the move onto my Stonejourner. They go for Poison Fang, of course, debuffing my defense, but they've got a Alolan Marowak in the back, and the opponent is going to farm up to back-to-back Bone Clubs, but it doesn't matter, we've dealt so much damage at this point. I can just no-shield that, come in with the Lycanroc, get the Sucker Punch farm down, and Sucker Punch farm down the Nidoqueen, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there into next battle. You can see Shadow Flygon into Hypnos. So of course, a bit of a neutral matchup here. I'm going to stay in initially. They could be running Ice Punch, so I'm going to try and swap out before they throw that Ice Punch here. Going to go for the Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands is going to be no-shielded. We swap into our Lycanroc, and the opponent is going to fire off a Charge Move. So I'm going to shield this. The opponent goes for a Shadow Ball there. They then swap into a Venusaur, and again, we're just going straight for Drill Run. Drill Run going to do some pretty nice damage in this matchup. Drill Run is no-shielded. That's huge, and they try to farm me down. We actually get a simultaneous KO there. Now we're going to wait out the switch clock here. Going to come in with my Stonejourner, and unfortunately they are running Azumarill in the back. So looking a little bit tricky for us since we are down a shield, but I'm going to no-shield this as the opponent just goes straight for an Ice Beam. Absolutely fine with me. I'm going to fire off the Stone Edge here as I need to deal big damage or grab the shield. We do grab the shield there. We're now going to come in with the Shadow Flygon. And this is still possible here, but we're going to shoot up the Ice Beam. We've got to be wary of a catch. I think Hypno is in farm down range, but we're lagging so much there, and the opponent is able to actually make it to a Charge Beam. I think there were 2 confusions away when they swapped out there, so they shouldn't have made it. I should have just got a full farm down, but because we just completely froze with Flygon for like 2 seconds, unfortunately, they do make it to a Charge Eve, and they're able to take me out with a triple resisted Thunder Punch, which is definitely adding insult to injury there. But either way, into next battle. GG's to that opponent, by the way. Gonna lead into a Clodsire. So again, they just go for a Sludge Bomb. I don't really understand why, but we're going to go for a Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands drops their attack, so technically, I could actually live this move as well, so maybe I should have no-shielded that next charge move, but either way, that's fine with me. Going to fire for Scorching Sands here. I don't expect them to double shield a Clodsire, but I'm wrong, they do double shield it, so at this point, I'm just going to fire off a Dragon Claw. I think that was a CMP tie, and I'm actually going to undercharge this, just because I realize I can let my Flygon go down here, then come in with my Lycanroc, and then go for a farm down, but the opponent actually swaps at the same time into Feraligatr. So this one we're definitely going to shield this. I will then over farm and go for a Trailblaze, which of course will boost up my attack, will very easily take out the Shadow Feraligatr. So Trailblaze gets the KO there. They're going to come in with a Dunsparce, so I'm just going to go and fire off the Drill Run straight away. Drill Run is boosted. Drill Run's going to do big damage up against the Dunsparce, and this game should be over. The opponent going to go and fire off a Charge straight away. They go for the Drill Run, but I think I put them into Rock Throw farm down range for my Stonejourner, and we're able to get the farm down, so the opponent just concedes the match. So GG's to opponent there, Internet's battle. You can see a Shadow Feraligatr in the lead this time around. So once again, we can outpace them just slightly. Gonna fire off the Dragon Claw straight away. Dragon Claw is gonna be no shielded. And in this one, I'm thinking I can probably Sand Attack farm them down. I know I could certainly get the farm down if I swapped into my Lycanroc, but I go for the farm down and the opponent gets damage registration error. And this is not stutter lag or anything like that, but it's just a very frustrating inconsistency where if I'd have swapped out there, I could have taken them out. But I was thinking, damage registration error doesn't occur that frequently, so I should have been able to get the farm down, and as a result, I'm now down 2 shields. And actually, their backline's looking pretty good for me if I had at least 1 shield remaining, which unfortunately I don't have. So, gonna come in with the Shadow Flygon, and at this point, I am very flustered. Like, this game is just like, straight up pissing me off at this point. We're gonna go for the Scorching Sands, and I could have fired off a Dragon Claw there, but for some reason, I just didn't throw. I'm like, my head is just not in it right now. Gonna come back in with the Stonejourner, and I should be able to Rock Throw farm them down. It just depends how much damage a Shadow Ball does, and that does too much damage there. You can see we actually get a simultaneous KO. If I just threw a charge move with my Flygon, I could have won that game, but after the annoying inconsistency in the battle up against the Feraligatr there, unfortunately, my head was just all over the place, and we do lose. But GG's to opponent there, very well played. Into next battle, again, like, what is Clodsire doing? Go for the Earthquake. Either way, we're going to go 4 Scorching Sands into the Carbink that comes in. Very interesting team, and a bit unsure as to why they're swapping into this, but either way, going to go for another Scorching Sands. We can reach another Scorching Sands up against the Carbink. We've already debuffed their attack there. Scorching Sands is going to grab another shield, and can we reach another Dragon Claw? No, unfortunately not there. Not sure if that was down to starter lag or if we just didn't reach the charge move there. It's kind of hard to tell these days because it is stuttering so frequently, but we swap into Lycan Rock, and the opponent comes back in with the Clodsire, and that is perfect for me because now we can just double shield. They can fire off Stone Edges, don't really care, because I'm just going to farm 2 back-to-back Trailblazers, and this game will absolutely be over. They go for a second Stone Edge, don't really care. We actually don't quite farm to back-to-back, but it doesn't really matter. Trailblaze gets the KO, 1 more Sucker Punch, and a second Trailblaze. Of course, we're already boosted. We'll definitely get the KO up against the Gastrodon, one-shotting them with the double super effective damage, and we're able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there into next battle. You can see Feraligatr in the lead. This time is a non-shadow Feraligatr, so I'm going to play this out slightly differently here just because I realise Dragon Claw probably won't grab a shield unless we do at least farm up to a potential Scorching Sands, but the opponent does make a very nice catch there, catching it onto a Dunsparce. So Dragon Claw is going to be thrown. It doesn't really do that much damage, but I'm going to throw on the potential CMP tie with the next charge move. Scorching Sands is going to get them low, but unfortunately not quite low enough. So at this point, the other opponent is actually going to go for a Rock Slide there, which is a huge mistake as we're now able to farm them down. They come back in with Feraligatr, and at this point I realise they can Shadow Claw, farm me down, so I'm just going to fully sacrifice my Stonejourner, hoping it's going to be something like a Clodsire in the back. So the opponent will reach back-to-back charge moves. There's no point shielding here, just going to fully sacrifice it, come in with my Lycan Rock. I will be able to shield once and fully Sucker Punch, farm them down. And then, of course, if it is a Clodsire in the back, we've still got to be very careful as a single Earthquake will definitely take us out here. So I'm going to go and fire off 7 Sucker Punches, and the opponent actually throws straight away. So this will just be a Stone Edge. Draw Run grabs the final shield from the opponent. I should be able to live this. It just depends, can we reach another Draw Run? And we are able to reach it. I tried to swap out, bank the energy, come in with my Flygon, reach a Dragon Claw. But again, we start a lag there. We're not able to swap in time. And unfortunately that cost me the game, and that was my final game I did with this team. Very annoyed at this point, so I just stopped playing. But yeah, that's going to be it for this showcase. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.